Is it like an actual, like an octagon, or is it just
It's a rectangle.
rectangle? We put it both sides. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Cedar.
Yeah, we bought one too. Was that that's it, backyard discoveries. That's it. We bought one of the grill shelter things they have on site. Yeah, it's I think 10 by 6 or something.
Karen talked about that for like maybe on deck.
Right, that's what.
Oh, you haven't started?
That's why we pay more, because you can't take 5 minutes to clear out
Waiting for the cue. Good morning, everyone. It's 9:30. We'll call the June 10th meeting of the Mill Creek Township Board of Supervisors to order. Would you please rise for the pledge? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there any public comment on agenda items other than development or rezoning applications? Then we'll move on to approval of the minutes from the May 27th meeting. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved, Dan.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Item 5 is approval of the bills. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
I will second, but I do have a question on the bills.
Yes.
I noticed in the bills we have 2 bills I just had questions on. The first is for $867.08 for the art for Erie Rack submitted on 6/3 of 2025 by the Mill Creek Government Study Commission. And then the second one is for $938 for the Mill Creek Insight Summer 2025, submitted on 6/3/2025. I just wondered what this could be in regards to.
Kim, what page are those on? Can you?
That's on page... Sorry. Hold on. It's on 2 separate pages, I know that.
Okay.
I don't have it in front of me because I have the PowerPoint up on my screen, but I believe the first one you referenced was regarding, was that for the pamphlets or the leaflets distributed by the study commission? Is that what, I'm sorry, I was trying to, is that
Yes,
what you read?
sorry, page 26.
Okay.
Yes, for the 867. And then the second one is page, technically 18 on the list of bills.
And what did that one say? I'm sorry. Just because I can't see it.
Yes, and the second one was for the Mill Creek Insight Summer 2025.
That was an article in Mill Creek Magazine that the government study commission,
An advertisement.
an article.
It should be an advertisement. They didn't submit an article to the,
Okay, I heard there was a.
Oh, I see it. Is it Mill Creek Insight Summer? Kim?
Okay.
yeah, that one.
Yeah, that would have been for an insert in the summer magazine.
Okay.
They approve the bills at their meeting, and then they turn them over to me for payment.
Okay. Yeah, I think that, so the art for Erie Rack for $867.08 that was for the distribution of the propaganda from primary day. Was the information, do we know, vetted prior to distribution? Okay, this could be problematic. How do we know that the taxpayer dollars paid for information that was truthful and factful? Did taxpayer money pay for printed materials that was partisan, not politically Democrat or Republican, but partially partisan in nature? Was it verified, do we know?
I don't know
okay.
anything about it. I'd like to see what it was.
Okay, I'm not sure if the facts were cited or were used, if there were sourced material in that. I guess my question is that should taxpayer dollars be spent on propaganda and opinion that is not based in, I guess, fact or cited sources? You know, since we brought on the communications department in August of 2022, we've created a standard practice. Maybe the commission isn't aware of the practice, that's all. And our information before it is relayed to the public is brought to the department heads, to the supervisors and or communications coordinator. All of our township departments, commissions, boards, and committees follow the practice. But in the name of transparency and integrity, I think the township remains committed to communicating factual and informational pieces that cite credible sources and remain neutral. In other words, nonpartisan or non-one-sided. So I guess we'll probably need to have a discussion just to make sure that we are following our practices here at the township. So prior to any printed materials, advertisements, social media content on behalf of the township, digital or physical communications, I guess. So, all right, we will make sure that I'll look into that a little bit more.
I'm okay with vetting any literature that goes out, but I just caution using the word propaganda. We don't know that it was propaganda, unless you've seen it. Maybe Mr. Schaaf can address some things later, but...
Okay, I did see it.
Okay.
There were some, yeah.
So,
And
I mean, I
yeah,
haven't...
we won't use the word propaganda. Materials.
Okay. I mean, I'm good with vetting
Okay,
whatever needs to be vetted.
okay. All right. Okay, so sorry, I second.
Okay. So
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
we have a motion and a second to approve the bills. Mrs. Claire?
I will vote yes, except for the two items from the study commission.
I will vote yes for all bills.
Okay, and I vote yes for all bills also. Moving on to item 6 would be the 2024 financial review. Ms. Page.
Thank you very much. I am pleased to present a financial overview of calendar year 2024, along with the preliminary snapshot of the first quarter of 2025. Last year marked a boy, that's a big word. When I wrote it, it sounded really good. Last year marked a period of transition in our financial operations. The 2023 audit had revealed 3 significant findings, issues that should have never occurred using proper accounting standards. Over the course of 2024, I dedicated extensive effort to thoroughly review our records and implement corrective action. The treasurer is entrusted with preserving the township's financial integrity and ensuring compliance with generally accepted accounting principles, or GAAP, as set forth by the Governmental Accounting Standards Board, which is GASB. My background is in governmental and nonprofit accounting, which includes independent auditing for the City of Erie, followed by 25 years of service with local governments and area nonprofits. And I am able to provide that integrity and that compliance. I am confident that the improvements that I implemented in 2024 will yield long-term gains for township finances. On the screen before you is a few different changes that were made during 2024 over what we had done previously. The one thing I did is I introduced a comprehensive overhaul of the budget development process, including close collaboration between the finance office, department directors, and bureau chiefs to create realistic forecasts and budgets for 2025. I also offered enhanced training and guidance to all department leaders, fostering improved understanding of their budgets and how each contributes to the township's overall financial landscape. The 2023 audit generated 3 notable findings, reflecting deviations from standard practice. In 2024, the Finance Office adopted a corrective action plan developed in conjunction with our auditors to strengthen internal controls, guarantee all finance reporting adheres to GAAP, and I included some of these key measures, which specifically addressed the 3 audit findings. I recorded all audit entries recommended by auditors. I had proper classification of fund transfers as operating transfers rather than balance sheet interfund receivables and payables. I also adjusted all month-end and year-end closing procedures to ensure revenues and expenditures correctly roll into the fund balance. These improvements have addressed the audit findings, and the auditors and myself, along with the corrective action plan, anticipate that no reoccurrence of similar issues should happen in the future. Here you're going to see a performance review of our general fund for calendar year 2024. The revenues that were collected was a little over $33.14 million, which exceeded the $28.61 million budget by $4.53 million. We recorded higher than anticipated real estate tax collections and unanticipated grant revenue. These were the key drivers to coming in over budget on revenue. On the expenditure side, for salaries, taxes, and benefits, we had budgeted a little over $22.3 million, and we spent about $21.95 million. And so salaries, benefits, and taxes were under budget by about $376,000. For our operating costs, we budgeted a little over $6 million for operating expenditures, and we spent a little over $5.8 million, showing that we came in under budget on our expenditures by $282,000. Our capital expenditures is where you'll see the biggest difference. We did budget a little over $14.1 million, and we had expended $3.7 million, leaving a bunch of projects that were deferred into 2025 and 2026, or they were just determined to not be necessary. So overall, the net result achieved a surplus of $1.66 million before transfers, and the transfers improved that number to a surplus of a little over $1.98 million compared to the budgeted deficit of $6.76 million. Here you'll see how the departments performed throughout the year. I did extract out capital because I wanted to see how each department operated. So this includes salaries, benefits, and any operating expenditures. Our administration department came in under budget by about $124,000. The tax collection department came in over budget by about $2,000. Planning and development came in under budget by about $69,000. Our community relations and sustainability department, which also includes our mill fair recycling, came in over budget by about $91,000. Our engineering department did come in over budget by about $88,000. Our police department did come in under budget by about $473,000. Parks and Rec department came in over budget by about $31,000, and our public works department came in under budget by to about $206,000. So all in all, for the operations, for expenditures, we did come in under budget by about $659,000. Primarily, the over budgets did have to deal with some benefits, some healthcare costs. There was a myriad of a few different things, but those were the big things that kind of jumped out. And we are a self-funded plan, so that is something that is completely unpredictable, and really what caused things being over budget. So a quick little synopsis. At the end of 2023, the general fund did have unreserved fund balance of $18,357,151. And with this, we call it the excess of revenues over expenditures for 2024, we will be adding about $1.9 million to the fund balance, showing a projected unreserved fund balance at 12/31/24 of a little over $20 million. One thing I wanted to say in the beginning, and I did not, these are all unaudited numbers. I am not expecting any big changes to these numbers, but they could vary slightly from what you're going to see when the auditor does his presentation at, the end of the year. I also wanted to address the timing of the audit. I do know that in past years, there have been comments made about how later and later it is. 2023, I came in here in 2024, it took quite a while to get through everything, to sort it all out. There were some major adjustments and some major variances that had to occur during the audit time of 2023. We did see a significant decrease in our fund balance. It had been projected that we were showing about a 30 million fund balance, and then after those adjustments, it did drop down to 18. A lot of that had to do with the fact that our operating transfers were not being recorded as operating transfers. They were being recorded on the balance sheet as interfund payables and receivables, which is incorrect. You don't do that in government. It's part of GASB, it's part of GAAP, it's just how it works. You just don't do that. So after all of those adjustments were made, I think looking at this $18 million number, this is a true unreserved fund balance for the township, not the 30-some million that had been recorded in previous years. I cannot attest to 2021 and 2022's audits. I was not here, I was not involved, so therefore I can't say anything about those. Looking into the water investment fund account, there was a beginning balance on December 31st of 23 of $9,057,825. We did add to that balance of $1,575,940, primarily of the $1 million payment from Erie Waterworks, and we do have just one more year. 2025 will be the last $1 million that we receive from Erie Waterworks, along with earnings. There was fees disbursements of a little over $19,000, leaving the end balance on December 31st of 2024 at $10,614,764. Next, you will see the fire department. It is not recorded in the general fund because it does have its own source of tax revenue, so everything gets pulled out and is shown in its own fund. For the fire tax fund, you will see that revenues were budgeted at $2,543,398, and we collected $2,510,648, leaving a slight under budget of $32,000. On the expenditure side of things, we budgeted total expenditures of $3,063,367, and we spent $2,690,777, leaving a little under budget of $372,000. So our total revenue over expenditures shows that we had we budgeted a $519,000 deficit, and we did realize a $180,000 deficit. Next is our sewer revenue fund. For our sewer revenue fund, which is primarily its main source of revenue, is going to be your quarterly billings, the sewer piece of that you pay to Erie Waterworks. We had budgeted that we would record $11,312,227 in revenue. We did realize $11,035,707 in revenue, slightly under budget by about $276,000. On the expense side of things, we recorded a total of $12,202,254 in expenses, and we did expend $9,164,657, leaving our expenses under budget by a little more than $3 million. For the most part, there were two factors that led into that. The sewer department has been planning for years to do an overhaul, I guess I'll call it, of our Kearsarge force main, and that project has been pushed back. It has been pushed back for several years. We actually think it's going to come to fruition. We are hoping, we now have all of our permitting, we're hoping to get it started in 2025, but the majority of that work will probably get pushed into 2026. On the other side, on the operating expenses, there is an invoice that we receive from the city of Erie every single year for treatment and transportation costs for our sewer system, and they do a reconciliation from one year to the next, and our reconciliation was that we had overpaid in previous years, and so we had less expenses than what we had originally budgeted. Sorry, just need a quick drink. Next is just a very quick snapshot of the first quarter of 2025. The first quarter, really, in all three funds, is tracking as expected. You would expect to see 25%, obviously, with being the first quarter. On the general fund revenues and the fire tax revenues, primarily those are down at 11% and 14% collected as of March 31st, due to the fact that taxes really are not collected until starting in March and in April. So you would expect to see exactly what we are seeing here. Since the taxes naturally lag slightly due to real estate tax receipts, typically concluding by March and April. At present, there are no indications that collections will fall short of any budgeted levels through quarter two. And I can say that they have really ramped up. Yeah, we enjoy getting those bills from the payments from the tax collector. Also then in the sewer revenue fund, we are showing that our revenue totals for the first quarter are at 29%, $3,213,000, and our operating expenditures at this point is showing 17% at a little over $2 million. So while the 2023 audit findings presented initial challenges, the Finance Office has successfully implemented corrective measures, reinforcing GAAP-aligned finance practices, and the township has delivered some strong surpluses in 2024, improved fund balance, and established a sound foundation for sustainable fiscal management into the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Page. Any comments from the board?
Melanie, I had a question about the sewer revenue fund. Salaries and benefits, the $1.4 million. How is that allocated? Who is?
So we have this is all sanitary sewer, is what sewer revenue is. It has nothing to do with storm sewer. That is budgeted in the general fund. So our sanitary sewer salaries would be, we have a bureau chief.
Okay.
We have 9 or 10, Subby, 9 or 10 sanitary sewer operators.
We have
12, okay, sorry. So they are budgeted there, the bureau chief is budgeted there, and then I also allocate a piece of my salary, a piece of payroll, and some of the administrative salaries are cost shared.
Okay.
As well as the public works director is cost shared by about 26%.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Page, regarding 2020 or 2021, 2022, I know that you were not there at that time, And just in a few words, there were discrepancies of recordings that were
Standard practices were not always followed. So yes, it led to, I'm going to say a story. I always say the numbers tell a story, but it led to information not being correct. If you're not recording your, audit entries that you are being given, the operating transfers is a huge one because there was an accumulation of what should have been running through your income statement and then closing into your fund balance every year. There was a balance being built up on your balance sheet of interfund receivables and payables. And so to clear all of that out caused a lot of what we saw happen in 2023.
So it started earlier and it just in 2016 and then just compounded 2017, 2018, 2019.
I did not look back that far,
Okay.
but I can say that for several years, it just kept adding up and adding up, yes.
Okay. And now the information is correct. So anyone having questions on the budget and the accuracy of our fund balance can contact you, is that correct?
Yes.
Have you been reached out to by anyone recently?
No.
Regarding the budget?
I have not.
Okay.
No, I have not.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Page.
I just have just one quick question for my own edification. So the general fund balance of a little over 20 million, so that's not dedicated to anything. So that's money that
That is
the
completely
township has.
unreserved, and it is not dedicated. The fund balance in total, you're closer to the 40 million range, but we have to reserve for any capital projects that have been budgeted. There's several things that you have to reserve for this so that you have that money. No, this is clearly unreserved and not spoken for.
And then the water investment account, the 10 million, that's not part of the 20, that's on top
That
of
is
the 20?
not part of the 20.
Okay, so that's on top of the 20.
Right.
And that's also, not dedicated to any particular project or anything,
I think when
correct?
it was set up, it was for infrastructure, it was for capital projects. I mean, it was, for bigger things, not for us to be able to use for operations. Correct.
Thank you.
So the total of the reserved and unreserved fund balance is $40 million?
So looking at just the general fund, we're looking at, it's going to be, once the audit is done, they will show probably close to about $20 million. Then we also have the investment fund that is showing the $10,614,000. And that is separate from your general fund. It is still a
Correct.
governmental fund, but
Yeah.
it's separate from your general fund.
Okay.
And then there's some others that have, little bits here and there as well, but those are the two main pockets of unreserved fund balance.
Okay,
Yes.
very good. Thank you very much for the numbers, the real numbers.
Yes.
Great report. Thank you.
That's why I'm here.
Moving on to item 7 of the agenda is the official map release request for 5571 Henderson Road, Kim Skibinski, developer. Mr. Waldinger?
Yes, thank you. Good morning. The property owner of 5571 Henderson Road, Kim Skibinski, has submitted a letter of intent to develop the property on June 3rd, 2025. The property is located on the official map of Mill Creek Township, and the proposed development is for a single-family dwelling. After review of the property and finding that it is in a floodplain and bisected by a waterway, development of the property will be strictly controlled by the floodplain ordinance. Development on the east side of the property will be difficult without a stream crossing permit from the DEP. The property will remain generally preserved without acquisition, so it is the recommendation of the zoning and development officer to release the property from the official map.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions from the board?
I'll make a motion to release this property from the official map.
I will second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Moving on to bids and quotations. The first item is a traffic camera processor for Public Works. Mr. Puda?
Thank you and good morning. The Traffic Department requests to purchase 3 new camera processors to replace the discontinued ones currently used at 38th Street and Collier Road, 38th Street and Sterretania Road, and Steratania Road and Collier Road. A quote was received from General Highway Products Incorporated for the price of $29,220. Funds for these cameras will be taken from the traffic cameras line item of the Traffic Department capital budget, and I recommend purchasing these 3 new camera processors.
Thank you. Any comments or questions for Mr. Puda? Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is a township building asphalt resurfacing project. Mr. Puda?
The Public Works Department is requesting to award the Township Building Asphalt Resurfacing Project 2025 for the milling and asphalt resurfacing of 3,065 square yards of parking lot area at the Streets Department entrance to Lindy Paving for the unit prices totaling $71,289. Joseph McCormick Construction was the only other contractor to submit a bid totaling $81,470. It would be my recommendation to accept the proposal from Lindy Paving for the Township Building Asphalt Resurfacing Project 2025.
Thank you. Any comments or questions for Mr. Puda? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next items are the fire station alerting systems for Bell Valley and the Kearsarge stations. Chief Cliff?
Thank you. There's 2 different projects, but it's both for the brick station alerting. The first one is for the East Side Garage temporary location. I'm requesting approval to install the brick station alerting. The total cost was $28,000 with an annual service and maintenance fee of $2,500. We did receive a grant from the Pennsylvania Office of the State Fire Commissioner for $15,000, and we're expecting the rest of it can be paid out of the balance of funds that were received by our fire recovery billing, which have not yet been appropriated. And the second one is for the Kearsarge station. That total cost was estimated at $32,500 with the maintenance and subscription of $2,500 per year. Kearsarge Fire Department has budgeted $20,000 towards this project, and the remaining funds would be used out of our fire recovery billing.
Thank you. Any comments or questions for the chief?
I have a couple questions, Chief. So maybe you could explain to the people what this exactly is, the alert, what it does and how it functions.
Sure. So right now we're being dispatched on a low band system that's not very reliable or dependable. We've had several instances where we've missed calls for emergencies at both of these locations because of poor reception. The county is moving to a digital paging system, and to align with what their goals are, this station alerting is a hardwired system in the stations that is both audio and visual notifications for the fire departments that are working there.
Okay. Regards to the east side, that is for the old French Road
Correct.
location?
Correct.
And that's a temporary,
Yes. This
station.
system will be able to be removed and then installed into the new station when it's built.
you read my mind, that was my next question. And then regards to Kearsarge, so is the volunteer fire department paying for $12,500?
They're paying for $20,000.
They're paying for 20 and we're picking up the excess.
Correct.
And there's going to be an agreement to that effect.
Yes, they've already budgeted for this project.
But they've signed off on it. They've allocated the funds. And
Yes.
thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is a trailer for the emergency management. Ms. Clear?
Yes, thank you. Before you, we have the trailer for the emergency management. This is brought to us by Shallon Anderson. The Emergency Management Department is seeking to replace its current cone trailer, which has been in service for over 40 years. While the existing trailer has served its purpose well, it has reached the end of its useful life. She is proposing to acquire a 6x10 trailer from J&J Equipment Sales. The updated trailer will not only accommodate traffic cones, but will also provide flexibility to transport additional equipment as needed, something the current trailer cannot support. Emergency Management has allocated $5,000 for the replacement of the department trailer. But after reviewing the options, it's the recommendation of the department to proceed with the purchase of a trailer from J&J Equipment Sales at the cost of $3,600. The purchase falls within the allocated budget and meets the operational needs of the department. So with that, I will go ahead and make a motion to purchase this trailer for less than what was budgeted.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is the 2025 mowing of flood detention basins from engineering. Mr. Rodemeyer?
Yes, thank you. This is in regards to our Mill Creek Township owned flood detention basins. We did request, send out to 6 different vendors as far as quotes for this maintenance and mowing work. We did receive 2 quotes back, one from Kunko Landscape for $23,100, and the other one was from Empire Snow Management for $21,760. And I am making recommendation for approval of Empire Snow Management for the $21,760.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
I have a question.
Yes.
I have a lot of questions today.
Me too. I have a question when you're done.
Is this the same Empire that does sidewalks and demolition?
Yes.
Would you agree that in the past we've had numerous problems with Empire with regards to various jobs that they've been contracted to do?
There have been some, to my understanding, I can't specifically, speak for myself. That is my understanding. Previously, I did know that last year, we did award them a small sidewalk project, and they did do a good job on that. We, watched them, made sure they did good quality work. Everything turned out that well for them, I believe. I can't speak. I know they've done demo work now, I believe, down at on 6th Street, 8th Street. So yes, I do understand your concerns. This is kind of on the lower end of work, I guess you could say, mowing, trimming, so I do get your concerns, but I do feel comfortable that, they're qualified and will be able to do the work, and I know our inspectors and stuff will make sure that they do the work right. If not, they'll come back and do the work, or they won't get paid.
This is a question for Mr. Shar. Are we obligated to take this bid over the second bid, Kunso?
Unless we have a determination that they're not a qualified bidder, yes, we are.
Okay. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Rodemeyer, I just wondered, what is the schedule of the mowing of the detention basins? I get calls every once in a while that a detention basin has not been mowed in a while.
It's generally, but it's weather dependent this year. If it continues the way it is, it's going to be tough. Some of these, are generally wet and you get machinery stuck. So it's generally early in the year, so spring and then early fall. So kind of, second quarter, late third quarter. So kind of beginning of summer, end of summer, generally speaking, but it is weather dependent, on some of these sites especially.
Okay. So during like the dry time and like late July, I know that's usually when I get the calls, and August.
It should have, at least on some of these, there's 2 mowings, typically for most of them. It should have been done already by then.
Okay. Okay. So there's nothing in the in-between. It's just 2 mowings, beginning and end?
Generally not. It should not be, but like I said, depending upon the weather and the site, like I said, there's so many different, they're all different, these sites wise, as far as, access, how much some of them just, they stay wetter than others, depending upon, but obviously with the wet weather this year.
Is there a benefit to having growth inside of the detention basins? Does it help absorb the water more or not,
Depends upon how you
Okay.
look at it, it depends upon the site too. I mean, some of these, it's whether it's a retention or a detention, it's, I don't have the full details on some of these, and depending upon, the time of them, nothing lasts forever,
Okay.
sometimes some silt in with just general debris, obviously the debris from the mowings, there's so many different variables that factor into this.
okay. Well, thank you.
Have a specific
No.
answer, but it's
Thank you for the
very-
non-answer.
yeah.
I appreciate that.
Rob, I have one more. Do you know what our cost was last year for this?
It was right in that ballpark it was 22, 23. It's always been under the threshold of the municipal, getting 3 quotes. But it's definitely, I don't know the exact number, but it's definitely right in that same range, between 20 and 25,000 every year.
Yeah, Jim, I think it's been in the low 20s for several years, so.
That's my understanding, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the contract to Empire.
Okay, I will second. Moved and seconded. Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Bach?
No.
And I vote yes. Next item is a request for proposal for the mowing and snow removal services. Mr. Waldinger.
Yes, thank you. We received 2 proposals from companies to do as-needed mowing and snow removal. This is used by our code enforcement office to abate nuisance properties if people continually refuse to answer their notices of violation and mow their properties in compliance. Weeds and grasses have to be under 8 inches, or similarly in the winter, after a snow event, if people refuse to clear their sidewalks. This gives the township the ability to go in, have a company abate those nuisances, send an invoice to the township, and then those invoices are sent to the property owner, and either they pay them or we lien their property. So we received 2 proposals for those services. The first was from Harrington Outdoor Service. They bid $60 an hour for mowing services and $60 an hour for all snow removal. $95 an hour for snow removal where a tractor has to be used, and $16 per bag of salt. The second quote that we got was from Empire Snow Management. They bid $45 an hour for mowing services, $26 an hour for any snow removal that's under 1 hour of labor, and then $45 an hour for any snow removal above 1 hour of labor. $95 an hour for the use of a tractor, and $15 for a bag of salt. So after reviewing the quotes, it is the recommendation of the Planning and Development Department to engage Empire Snow Management for the 2025-2026 mowing and snow removal services. This is an overall not-to-exceed contract price of $6,000. And this recommendation includes authorization for the chair to sign a professional services agreement with Empire upon review and approval of the agreement by the solicitor.
Thank you. Any comments or questions for Mr. Waldinger?
No.
Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
And I will second. Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Bach?
There's an old saying, you get what you pay for. No.
And I vote yes. Item 9 is new and amended ordinances under review. Mr. Shaw?
Yes, we have 2 that are under review. One is the subdivision and land development ordinance. We have completed our legal review, and we've been meeting with engineering and planning to finalize that. And then on fines and penalties, we're working through to update our code to make the fines and penalties provisions consistent, and so we're still working through that. That's all I have.
Thank you. Item 10 is Resolution 2025-R23, resolution pursuant to Resolution 2015-R20 and the Municipal Records Manual to approve the proposed disposition of certain township records. Attorney Shaw.
Yes, before you is a resolution to approve the disposal of certain municipal records maintained by the police department that are reaching the end of their retention period under the Municipal Records Manual. Police department records to be disposed of include MVR BWC footage that includes test recordings from 3/28/25 through 4/24/25, traffic stops from 2/28/25 through 3/25/25, incident only in special circumstances between 5/27/23 through 6/23/23, and case report, arrest report, SRR unknown types from 5/27/2005 through 6/23/2005. My recommendation would be to approve the disposal of these records.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Item 11 is a partial financial security release request for Millfair Heights Subdivision 10, Redinger Homes developer. Mr. Waldinger, or Mr. Rodemeyer, I'm sorry.
Yes, thank you. Yes, this is in regards to an older project, Millfair Heights Number 10 subdivision. This is something myself and the department has looked into from a historical standpoint. It's been kind of lingering around for a little bit. I've done my research, kind of gone through all the records, done some site inspections. There is some remaining work that needs to be done on the site. But I do believe at this point, we can recommend a partial release of the financial security to Redinger Homes in the amount of $40,000, leaving a balance of $39,846.85. Just of note too, right now, I think, I don't know, Mark, you might want to speak in regards to, the situation that happened up there. I think the default with the developer. And we're in the process of keeping that money to do some additional work. We have to do that work, so that's in the process right now as far as getting some quotes, and whatever that work cost will be subtracted from that $39,000 at that point, and then the remaining balance will be released at that point. So I am recommending approval of the release for the $40,000.
Okay, any comments or questions for Mr. Rodemeyer?
Question, Dan. How long has this been going on? It's been going on a while, correct? Like, do we know?
I'd say
More than 10 years?
It's close to 10 years from, yeah. I mean, this has been on a while. That's why it's kind of taken me a while just to kind of dig through the history of it. I've touched base with Melanie. I think we've kind of tracked it down comfortable where, essentially the money has been moved to the township at this point. From the initial financial security that was taken. So yes, it's been quite some time.
How did you arrive at the 40,000, just half?
Just approximately half at this point. Mr. Redinger's been, essentially calling, and it's something I've done at this point. I think it's the right thing to do. We're holding on to money that we don't need to be holding on to. The amount of work that remains is significantly lower than what we were holding on to. So I felt it was, at this point, time to release a portion of that.
So we could release a little bit more if we wanted to.
Well, I want to make sure I don't have the exact cost of, what the remaining work has to be done. So until I have that number, I have a ballpark, a good idea of what it's going to be. It's definitely under the 39,000, but I didn't want to release any more just to make sure that we have that covered as far as the expense, because we're going to have to pay that contract.
What kind of work are we talking?
It's pretty much installation of 2 stormwater baffle plates that weren't put in, so it's pretty much minor work, but not crazy expensive. But I wanted to make sure we covered ourselves as far as that money, because if we give it away, I don't think we're going to be able to get it back, or it's going to be a lot harder to get back. So
I'll make a motion to approve the release of the $40,000, the portion.
I'll second.
Yeah, it's been moved and seconded. Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Moving on to communications, Ms. Page, anything, Treasurer?
I have nothing else today.
Okay, we have a hiring request for Parks and Rec. Mr. Bach, you want to do that?
Sure, happy to. So we have some part-time or seasonal hires, day camp counselor, concession attendant, tennis instructor, lifeguards, day camp counselor. These are individuals that we routinely hire for seasonal work. Pay range $11.75 per hour to $13.75 per hour. And there's a total of, looks like 8 employees. and I would put that in the form of a motion to approve their hiring for the 2025 season.
I will second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Mr. Bach, I know
Yes.
you're in charge of Parks and Rec. When does the season officially start? Is it next week? Monday?
Monday.
That's a good question.
Okay.
Well,
Sorry.
school,
I should have asked.
school is finally out Thursday, and I
Oh.
recognize some of these names, so
Yeah, me too. Me
I
too.
think they're going to be, yes, starting Monday,
Okay,
Yes.
that's the official. Okay,
the
all right.
16th.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
That's okay.
Okay, Monday. Awesome.
Okay, moving on to training requests. The first one will be for the police department. Chief Mook?
Thank you. The FBI LEADER organization is hosting their Command Leadership Institute August 18th through the 22nd in Rochester, New York. The purpose of the course is to advance the art and science of police command leadership. I'm requesting approval to send Lieutenant Shamara, Lieutenant Farrick, and Lieutenant Haynes to this course. The course registration is $795 per person, totaling $2,385. Lodging is approximately $129 a night plus taxes and fees. 2 rooms for 5 nights, approximate total $1,470.60. Per diem is $440 each, totaling $1,320. Fuel and toll costs are estimated at $100, and travel will be by department vehicle. Total travel costs are $2,924.20. These costs to be taken from the police training budget.
Thank you. Any comments or questions for the chief?
No, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is a training request for the fire department. Chief Cliff?
Thank you. Condition of employment for our full-time firefighters is paramedic training, and I'm requesting approval to send firefighter Matt Hicks for paramedic training hosted by the University Hospital's Conneaut Medical Center. The program runs September 2nd of 25 through June 30th of 2026, with classes being held every Tuesday and Friday from 9 to 3, and the first Wednesday of each month from 9 to 3. He will also have to take a prerequisite class of anatomy and physiology course that's scheduled July 1st of 25 through August 25th of 25. This course meets on Mondays and Fridays from 9 to 12:30. The total cost of the A&P course is $1,000, and the paramedic program is $5,500. Matt will be required to sign a 2-year service agreement with the township. This will be paid for out of our training budget, and I recommend the approval.
Thanks. Any comments or questions for Chief Cliff?
I have a quick question, Dan, or for Chief. So when they get trained in this case, in Conneaut, Ohio, so does that certification transfer to any state that they would go to?
So
it's-
when they complete, they'll take what's called the National Registry Exam, which is recognized across the country. So then they'll get reciprocity in Pennsylvania for that national recognition of paramedics.
So it doesn't matter where they get the training or take the exam?
Correct.
It's reciprocal after they complete it?
Correct.
Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Executive session was held on May 29th. Litigation matters related to permit dispute, opioid settlement, code enforcement matters, state court lawsuit and the easement dispute, personnel matters related to the fire department, and real estate matters related to Parks and Rec facilities. On June 5th, litigation matters related to permit dispute, zoning hearing board appeals, code enforcement matters, state court lawsuit and easement dispute, public safety matters, personnel matters related to the fire department, and real estate matters related to Parks and Rec facilities. Anything under solicitor communications?
Nothing on my end, thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the student ambassador report.
Their last report.
Good morning. The last day of school will be this Thursday, June 12th. McDowell students are finishing strong as we head into finals week, and we would like to congratulate our graduating seniors as they continue their academic careers or enter the workforce.
With the end of the school year, this will be the last update we will be sharing. We have both had a wonderful time over the past year and are grateful for this opportunity. We've not only shared exciting news from McDowell, but also observed discussions, learned about the inner workings of the township, and have gotten to know the Mill Creek community as a whole. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure having you both. Good luck in your futures.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Okay, moving on to citizens to be heard. Anyone wishing to address the board?
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Danielle Spagel, and this is my husband, Tom, and we currently have a contract on the 5571 property on Henderson Road.
And I've had the opportunity to sit on that side of the dais for a while, and I was very impressed with the ease with communication with both of the Matts, and particularly you, Jim, but you as well, Dan. And I know, Kim, we've not met, but
It's a pleasure to meet you, Kim.
Yes,
Thank
good to meet you.
But,
We're excited.
Had this happened in Erie, this would have, the property being taken off the official map would have lasted, I know, for months and months and months. This lasted inside of a week. I really am looking forward to becoming a Mill Creek resident, a lifelong Erie resident. I was very impressed with the professionalism and the time in which it really did not take to
And to
help
you,
us.
Jim, for showing up and actually walking the property and taking the time. It meant a lot to us.
So thank you.
Yeah. So, and you too, Matt. Thank you for your time.
We can mark this down as government proceeding quickly.
We're going to
know-
film that statement,
Don't
and
know
we're
if
going to
that's
show
ever
it
happened in my time here.
on
but
all of our media. No.
We appreciate it. Thank you so
So we
much.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Gold star. Thank you, Jim, for, I know that we received messages and you took that, you took the bull by the horns and got it done.
Yeah,
So thank you for doing that.
If anyone hasn't been to the Skabinski Picnic Grove on Henderson Road, it's really a hidden gem. It really is. It's a beautiful piece of property, and obviously over the years it's kind of lost some of its upkeep, and so looking forward to what the Spagels are going to do with the property and bring it back to life. Congratulations.
And welcome to Mill Creek. We're proud to have you.
All right, anyone else wishing to address the board?
Good morning, all. Yeah, I'm here on behalf of the Mill Creek Township Government Study Commission. As what you might have guessed, I'm sure, I have the theory that brief is better, so my comments will follow that format. We met yesterday evening at 5:30, and I'm pleased to report to you, the supervisors, that we are within the budget that was set at the beginning of our work shortly after the November election. And of course, the bills that we had, and I'm sure we look forward to understanding the difference between propaganda and keeping the township voters informed. The commission set a schedule in early December indicating what the format and progress of our work should be. And that includes that when we would reach a decision, and then following that decision, according to the Pennsylvania statute, it requires us to create a final report. And we are in the process of working on that final report. However, the individual members of the commission, 7 of them at the public meeting, all verbalized the reasoning and the logic as to why they have made the recommendation that they have. And the process follows the Pennsylvania statute under Title 53, where we are required to create the final report. We anticipate that this final report will be prepared sometime the end of July or early August. And this will be a very detailed report as to the things that we did to reach the conclusion that we did. And we emphasize continually in all of our communication, or try to, that the final decision, whether we have a change of government or not, is up to the voters. It's not done behind closed doors in a secret meeting. And so the things that we do to try to communicate what we have done, my personal feeling is that it's not propaganda, it is trying to keep them informed. We've done everything we can to try to keep our meetings open and keep the public informed along that line, so that the voters of Mill Creek will have the opportunity to make an informed decision down the road. And as an ending, I will tell you that I personally am always available to listen and to answer questions from voters, from the supervisors, to try to make sure that we move forward with this process in an intelligent manner. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you want the other folks to sign the sheet this morning? No, okay.
Before I get started, I do have this for you to look at, what you call propaganda. You can pass it down. Is merely the Government Study Commission showing what they ended up with. They're showing the pros of the 5-supervisor form of government with a management. There's no propaganda, but I find it ironic that a young lady last night used the same term. Could there be a correlation? Or is that, I think there's...
Or it is what it is. I don't know.
I think maybe she got the term from someone. So anyways, let me start my timer. I had some statements. I will try, to be quick, like the last gentleman. And, what I am seeing, I heard nothing today about the Shrine Club. Didn't you extend 30 days, but no decision, no nothing? All of a sudden, it's really quiet because we're focused on the Government Study Commission. And then what I heard Ms. Page say, and also you, Ms. Clear, it sounds like you're trying to malign the prior treasurer by saying stuff was done ineptly, maybe. And I don't know whether that treasurer got everything he needed to do his audit, but it's like genetics. You can't give what you ain't got. If you have not given him what he needs to do the papers, then he can't put it out. So I would think that you would want to maybe take back your words. They were a bit harsh. In my opinion, I'm reading between the lines, okay? And it almost sounds like you're trying to say that the Government Study Commission didn't have all their facts just because they didn't contact you. Well, there is the Freedom of Information Act where they can get all of their records, So it just seems...
Excuse me, I think her point was the fact that the last few study commission meetings, they have very maligned the finance office of Mill Creek Township. And I'm not going to disagree or argue that prior audits did not look good. It really honestly did not. There was deficits and things like that. Pieces of paper, numbers on a page, I'm not going to disagree with. But not one person reached out to ask what has gone on in the last year. I have not received one finance question from any study commission members or the consultants. So I don't think we can say that, it's because they don't have the information. They're not asking the information. So I can't provide something if I'm not being asked, and that really has nothing to do with the Freedom of Information Act, because that's just a question that could have been asked of the current treasurer of the current finance department, and it was not. So I'm not going to take back my words. The treasurer should have all of the information. I don't know what he was not given. But no, I'm not disparaging him. I'm just saying that there were standards that weren't followed. I don't know what the reasons were. I was not here.
Okay, well, I understand that if you weren't here, you can't answer to that. But they can get their information elsewhere, not just by talking to you. So, go ahead, speak up.
Nope.
All right, and so another thing is I'm thinking that this Government Study Commission, you know, with this little pamphlet that I gave to you that they're passing out that is not propaganda, I mean, their findings could affect your political aspirations, and maybe that's why you are so negative against it, you know? And as I'm looking at it now, this form of government, like I said before, there's no chain of command. You answer to nobody. You don't answer to us, obviously, because a lot of times you just do what you want to do when people disagree. And so for that reason, the 5 supervisor member with another person above them has more cohesion. If you read the prose of that, it takes away the political landscape. It takes away outvoting 2-1 on this particular board, which happens quite a bit, you know. So that's one thing I just wanted to point out. And let me see what else. I guess I see a lot of deception that's going on with this government, and deception just leads to more deception, and you're going to get caught in your own net of deception. I also had a question about, I talked to Joe Orengia from Joe's Gym about the flooding, and you know they had flooding last night with the rain. He said he's been dealing with this for 12 years. And I see that the grant that Brenton Davis gave the township is being held up. But I had asked at the last meeting, why did you have to wait for a grant to start a project when infrastructure is supposed to be part of your work? You know, these people, they have flooded homes, flooded yards, moldy basements. They're going to have health issues. You could be asking for a lawsuit, you know, if that happens. And 12 years to me is unconscionable. But, and that's all I have to say. So I thank you for your time. And again, I did it in 4 minutes.
Anyone else wishing to address the board?
I'm going to sign in first. Otherwise, I forget. I wasn't going to speak to it, but she mentioned about the 3 of you, 2-1, and supervisor. Ironically, 2 people just said, wow, this is the fastest government has worked, and they're impressed that this, and I know as Erie County citizens, it's great to see how great the one county director and the county council are getting along right now. It works so efficiently. And the mayor and the city council getting along so great, works so effectively. So let's make some more effective government. I wasn't really, the thing I really wanted to talk to you guys about, and a shout out maybe to PBS was, and I think it may be available on YouTube, I don't have internet, but there was it's been aired several times, like the top 10 things that changed America. And they had one about architect and buildings and history, and one of them was the top 10 parks in America. And I can't remember all of them, but there was like Highland Park, which is the most recent park, that they took old railroads and turned into green space inside cities that were pretty gray and brown and unappealing. Another park, Central Park, which I mentioned before, of how an asset and money revenue generator that Central Park is for New York City. People from all over the world come to see. And I think Erie, we suffer from can't instead of why not, and why. And even I myself have questioned 8th Street and some other stuff. But I think preserving, before it's all built up, because Mill Creek Township's running out of green space, preserving the Zemzem property as a park may cost short-term. In the long run, is going to be a great asset. I know, like everyone else, don't want to pay more for stuff, but the government outreach, Embrace Mill Creek, one of the top things is, that people wanted green space, but no one wants to pay for it. There's a lot of space that we've just gotten dumb lucky that's green space, like the Perico land, Asbury Barn, Asbury Woods. We were just dumb lucky. Zook Park, the city gave to us. Now, I know we just sold the golf course, but it has to indeed stay a golf course. I don't know what the Zemzem property has to stay green, but if that gets, Mill Creek doesn't buy it, you're talking 40 acres of woods and mixture of, that'll be gone. We can't grow more land in Mill Creek, and you can't keep building over everything. I know they just announced Aldi's putting in a new play, and I understand that's that way you're going to capitalize. They're diverse, they're spreading, whatever. But I mean, at some point you got to preserve it. People keep not hearing or listening, though, that Presque Isle, the state, may make that be a fee entrance park. If you lose that, what, the next largest green space in Mill Creek might be a cemetery? That's not good. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Anyone else wishing to address?
Thank you, Melanie, for bringing forward all that information. And my condolences to you for the loss in your family.
Thank you.
It was a long time coming, long time asked for that. And unfortunately, it didn't happen last meeting. So it's good to hear at this meeting. I didn't want to talk about the Mill Creek Study Commission because I'm opposed to it. I think it was brought up wrong. I think it was brought up by a member of the supervisors. By the way, you did a good job. You're really very vocal lately, asking a lot of good questions. I appreciate that. You've been quiet for a long time. But she says, and some of the commission says, this will separate politics. So, it's a little pamphlet. It's got a lot of pros. Where's the cons? Do you see them? There's supposed to be meetings. I hope they have them. They're supposed to. 4 of them, I believe. But, the manager doesn't have to live here. Of course, you could put it into a contract saying he has to. He's appointed, not elected. He's appointed by council. Council is elected. Council can fire him. So you got to have an in and out clause to any contract with a manager. The manager himself talking money, if you look at Cranberry Township, I can go get my phone, $715,000 for the manager, 3 assistants, treasurer, secretary, 5 councilmen. Or I don't know if there's 5 or 3. I'm pretty sure there's 5. So, the cost is cost. I'm a little concerned with the idea that they keep bringing up lawyer fees. I don't think everybody in this township has been following this. And, it's kind of sad to realize what's going on. We got to me, it's a poison in this township, an infection, and it ain't going away. And maybe I'm part of that, and I probably am. So if that's the way you feel, I apologize. But I think there's a lot to learn. I don't think you can hand out a pamphlet that does not have cons. It may be a good idea, but wrong time, wrong place. It should have been brought forth in meetings. So I do appreciate your time, and I think there's a lot of good people here. I said that again, and I'll say it over and over again about this township. We're safe. We have fire. I haven't seen much go wrong. I mean, everybody can dispute 8th Street. Cost probably drove that. That's what you're going to hear about Zook Park. He's right. We need green space. And the commission did work somewhat. I don't know how much hard. I'm looking to find out. I haven't seen much coming back. And if what Melanie is saying, that she was not asked questions about finances, is kind of sad and reflects poorly on that government study commission. I thought Mr. DDAB would be here today to listen to this, but he did not show up. So I thank you for your time. I ask you to get involved. If you live here, I ask you to come into meetings. They always precede the township meeting on a Monday night. If you aren't going to use your voice as Ms. Corn does and Mr. Schaaf and Dennis and I, the meeting be faster, but not as entertaining. So thank you for your time. Have a great day.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the board? Hearing no others, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Meeting's adjourned at 10:44.